This is working.
What is that?
It does that.
All right. That'll work. Okay. It works. All right.
That's so weird.
Okay. I guess we're going live then. Hi, guys.
Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Make it sound like it's loud.
You're the best. All right. So we're talking about open houses today. It's one of our 4. Do what?
Nothing.
Did you say don't sit?
No.
Boys are stressing me out. It's one of our 4 keys to making money, being successful as a realtor. I love open houses. I love open houses because I'm actually really good at them. I've managed to make my money. Like, that's where I really learned how to be a realtor and where I really learned how to project myself forward in picking up clients and picking up listings through open houses. So we're going to go through a few of the steps, making sure that you schedule. I do not like looking at myself on this right here. Can we rotate it around maybe?
You can't.
Huh?
There's not a camera on the back of it.
Oh, well then. Okay, that's better. I'm seeing myself move around and I don't like it. Okay, so open houses are really important, not just so that you can sell your particular listing. That's going to be a good point or a good, opportunity for you to try to sell your listing and get information about your listing out there to the general public. But the chances of you selling your open house or selling your listing at an open house are not real huge. I've written a contract at an open house a total of maybe 4 or 5 times now, which are pretty good odds. But one of those things is I always have a contract with me. The purpose of it is to pick up clients, because people are always going to go out and look at open houses, and they may just be out looking, and you may be able to sway them into purchasing something at some point. They're going out looking because they probably don't have a realtor. They really like to look at houses, or they're just interested in burning some time. Either way, you can convert all of those people into actual listings or actual buyers. So, preparation is one of your big keys into doing open houses, making sure your signs are out, making sure to advertise it online, on MLS, on Zillow, and all of those keys that you have available to you. The other part is, in that preparation, is checking out the other listings and the other things available in the neighborhood where your listing is or in the particular area. That's where a lot of realtors go awry, is they don't know what listings are around them. And so if you go into a house and you say, yeah, I like this house, but I need XYZ, but I have to be in this neighborhood, or I have to be in this general area. Because if they're serious buyers and they're looking in the particular area that they want to be in, then they want to be in that area. So you got to know what's in your area. Excuse me, I'm dealing with cold a little bit. Oh my gosh. We've got a lot of people joining on the Facebook thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to
Hello,
reiterate
guys.
that
Yes.
too. The biggest, if you don't know everything in that neighborhood, you're wasting your time at the open house.
Absolutely.
Because again, most people aren't going to buy the house you're in, and you're trying to pick up that client. So if you don't know what's in the area, then you're no good for
Hi,
yourself.
Kristen.
or
Hi,
the
Brandy.
people.
Oh, Brandy, you're fantastic. I love you. They can text me. Yeah, they can text me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
anyways.
knowing the area, doing homework on the area is just as important as showing up.
And
No,
having that information with you is really crucial. Because if you have somebody that says, oh, I really, really like this area, and I like this street, and I like this neighborhood, but I need one more bedroom, or I need a bonus room, or maybe I don't like this price point. So I go over to my drawer, and I pull out my listings, all the listings in the area, and I say, well, what would be would one of these houses interest you? And I tell them, oh, there's one that's 3 streets over that has all of the things you're looking for. How about we go see it? And being able to do that and have that opportunity, you're more likely to be able to capture those people and retain them as clients because you're prepared. Preparation is key in real estate. It's not, there are some things in life that you can just wing it. Preparation always helps you succeed more than just winging it. So, open houses, I highly suggest that you do an open house every single week. Every single week. Until you are making more money than you can't stand. If you can do it, do an open house. I am almost 2.5 years into the business now, and I still do open houses. If not every week, just about at least twice a month now. And most of it is just because I really, really like doing it. And once I do it once, it's kind of a drug to me. So do them every week because that's where you're going to pick up a lot of your buyers that are not in your network. That's how you build your network and grow your network. Executing your open house, I cannot stress this enough. Arrive early. Show up early. I was telling somebody not too long ago, whenever they were trading with me, that showing up early, your big clients are usually going to show up either 15 to 10 minutes before the open house, or they're going to show up in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the open house. They're always going to be the ones that are catching you early, or they're going to be the ones that are catching you late. And those are the ones that are real serious about things. And those are the ones that you actually usually get to spend the most time with. Because you're there and you're ready and you're prepared for them, or you're getting ready to leave. I say show up early and never leave early. So show up early, leave late, whatever it is that helps you, that resonate in your mind. But whenever I was holding an open house a while back, I do open houses literally rain, sleet, sunshine, anything, any kind of weather. Nothing will stop me from having an open house. But I had an open house that was dead as can be. It was a really big house. It was like a $575,000 house, but I was sitting in there on the most dark and dreary of Sundays. There was a football game on. It was it was just, all of the odds were against me of getting clients that day. So I stayed. I knew that there was another open house because I'd done my research. There was another open house in a smaller house down the street. And in the last 15 minutes of my open house, somebody walks in. And I'm like, hi! And then I realize he has a real estate tag on. Oh, how are you? So I get to talk to him. He's like, yeah, mine was dead, blah, blah, blah. And as I'm talking to him, I said, yeah, it's been really slow here as well. Things haven't been happening much. But, I always hold off until the end and, hope for maybe that one person to walk through the door that's ready to buy. And no more did those words come out of my mouth than the floodgates opened on my front door. And I had like 8 couples walk through, and I said, excuse me, I'm going to go sell this house now. And I took off walking, and he was just flabbergasted. And I thought he was going to go back and open up his house, but he actually stayed there and watched as I was doing everything. So anyways, doing your open houses, let's get back into this. The 3-touch method. So we'll touch on that real quick. You greet them whenever they come in the door. And we get more in depth in this in the boot camp so that you have a lot more of that information. This is just so that we can have an open discussion as well. 3-touch method. Whenever they first walk in the door, greet them. Be a warm, welcoming face. Be somebody that they can actually like and somebody that they can appreciate, like they're going to get to know you because you're going to be best friends and they're more likely to talk to you if they're friends. Second touch, you'll say, all right, well, my name's Sherry. See you in just a minute, go to the kitchen, go wherever you have your info sheets, bring them an info sheet, talk to them, get their name, kind of find out what they're doing, and then also give them a job. Say, well, a little bit about the house. Hey, whenever you're in that master bedroom, go check out that closet. let me know what you think. Don't tell them anymore. Kind of leave it open-ended and give them something to come back to you with. So then they go and they find out what is wonderful about that house, or whether the master bedroom sucks or whether it's fantastic. They're going to come back and tell you either way. So the next time you see them, you're like, okay, so what'd you think? It gives them a reason to come back and talk to you rather than just sneaking out the door because you've established a conversation. And then, so they'll, then you'll start asking them the questions that help them qualify. So the third time, they come back and tell you what they liked or didn't like. You start asking questions about why they're good, if they're a buyer or if they're, whether they're actually serious about the process or not. And then you hopefully get their information. And some people really like sign-in sheets. Some people really like their notepads. Everybody has a different way. Some people like to text the information into their phone. It just is completely dependent upon you. And then I also like to do a showcasing method at times. The showcasing method for me is just whenever I'm one-on-one with people and I kind of walk them through the house and I guide them. But that gives me the opportunity to really discuss the house with them and discuss the information with them on a more personal basis. So, the other huge thing I would suggest with open houses is that please, 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 for the love of God, make sure that you are texting your listing agent or texting your seller pretty shortly after. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I know that's a lot of people's pet peeves, is that whenever you have a listing and you don't give the person who allowed you that opportunity to have that open house, you don't give them the feedback that they need, then it makes it really hard for them to be able to work with their clients. So, or the seller as well. Let's see here. What else can I?
If you give a brief explanation of when you do your showcasing on how you would do that and what that looks like?
Yes. My showcasing method, whenever I showcase somebody, and this is only beneficial to you whenever you only have like one or two people come in at a time, I literally drag them through the house, like not like hook a leash on them and drag them. I like guide them through the house, like I'm a tour guide for them. Fighting this cold snow, guys, sorry. I did start antibiotics though, so we're good. Showcasing method, I greet them at the door. I say, hi, I'm Sherry. And I get their names and I get their information. And then I just go straight into it. I don't give them an opportunity to say, okay, well, we're going to go look at this house and take off. I have them, I don't allow them to go that far. Kind of like, where I learned this method is my father-in-law was also a car salesman back in the 80s, and he was a top producing car salesman, and he is like, this is how he did it. He would just show it. He's the one who taught me how to do open houses a long time ago. So this is kind of where I learned my method. But I'm like, okay, just so you know, a little bit of information about this house, and then I just go into the basics of the house. I don't give them an info sheet. I don't give them anything yet. So I start telling them about the ceilings. I start telling them about the great size roofs, and then I guide them through it. And I show them the bedrooms. Oh, look at this closet. No matter the type of house, whether it's new construction, whether it's an existing home, whether it's the crappiest house you've ever had listed, there are always 3 things about every single house that you can showcase. And I really try to project those 3 things. It has a backyard. Okay, let's showcase that. Let's be excited about that. Does it have a roof that doesn't leak? All right, let's do that. Does it have walls? Does it have something about that house has to be fantastic. There's a reason why you have that listing. You're going to be excited about it regardless. So, and then at the end, after we go through the house, I'm like, all right, so when can I schedule the moving van for you? Or what day would you like to have closing on? And I just kind of assume the sale at that point. Whether they like it or not, I usually get a giggle out of that because they're like, oh, okay, this girl thinks she's really that good. And then that's whenever I really kind of gauge where they're at on the house. I know that they love the neighborhood. As I'm showcasing the house, I'm finding out about their kids, I'm finding out about their work, I'm finding out about what neighborhoods they like, finding out all of this information. And we're best friends because we just spent the last 20 minutes together and I just got their entire life story from them. And then I find out where they want to start looking and when they want to meet up to, if they don't like the house that I'm showing them right now, then they need to, I've got to find a way to show them other houses. So, and I usually pick up, I would say 8/10 of my buyers through open houses, 80%, I would say. All right. What else?
Do you try to, if you meet somebody and there's something specific in mind in that neighborhood that you want to show them, do you generally try to organize that for directly after your open house if you can?
As far as another house or a listing? Yeah, sure. If they're there and they're like, oh yeah, no, we drove by this house, I have the information sheet with me. So I have the other agent's contact information. If the house is vacant, I'll definitely organize to go see the house immediately afterwards. Otherwise, if it's occupied, I'll find out if they just had a showing there or if they had an open house during the same time I was having an open house. And then I'll tell the listing agent, hey, listen, I'm going to come over at 4:15 right after your open house with my clients. Is that okay? And usually they're pretty fine with that. So, but just communicating with the other agent. So, but yes, I try to go as soon as possible, whether it's that day, later that evening, the next day. I mean, I try to get them into the houses that they want to see. Follow up on the people. This is another thing that I wanted to talk about is follow up on the people that you get information from at the open house. I get asked this question a lot. How soon should I follow up with them? Should I do it that night after the open house? Should I do it the next morning? When should I do that? I always give them the expectation. I always give them like a deadline of when I'll be contacting them. I usually text them right after the open house if I got their phone number. I'll usually text them or send them an email. Hey, it was so great to meet you today. I look forward to working with you. Be on the lookout for those listings by Tuesday morning. And because whenever I get home from an open house Sunday evening, I'm usually going straight home to cook dinner for the kids and my husband and, you know, rushing through everything. But, you know, and Mondays, but Monday, that's on my list of to-do things is gather all the listings for the people from the open house. And so by Monday evening, Tuesday morning, I always tell them Tuesday morning to give myself, that way I look like I'm early at something, is telling them Tuesday morning. And so if I send it to them Monday afternoon, they're like, ooh, she's good. You know, she's on time. So.
And then
But
follow up. When you get someone's information, find out what they want, what they're looking for when you send stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They may have gone to 5 other open houses that day. They may be getting emails from 5 other people. They're not going to respond until they see something they like. Most people. So you can send someone 5, 6 emails over a 2-3 week span, and they might never ever respond. And then you might find something that pops up on the market first day, you send it, and they're going to say, oh, I like that a lot. And they're going to respond and say, hey, can we go look at that house? So just because they're not responding to your emails initially doesn't mean they're not getting them and doesn't mean they're not still engaged. And Charlie had he struggled with that for a while, but then people just started coming out of the
I
woodwork.
got a pretty good recent example of that actually. I was sending houses to a girl for the last 4 months, and last night she reached out to me. She said, hey, can we go see this house in the next hour? And I hadn't heard from her in 4 months. I said, yeah, of course. So, and we may go look at it a second time today after this. And, you know, I hadn't heard hide nor hair of her in months. So, you know, people are looking at those emails and they're not responding because they haven't seen the house that's going to get them off the shelf yet. Not necessarily because they're not interested in what you have to say.
And this goes with any follow-up in any part of real estate. Follow up until I tell you to stop calling me.
Yeah.
Stop calling me, or I'm already bought a house, or I'm working with another agent. Until they say something like that, then you just keep following up because it's super important to us, and it's all we're thinking about right now as a realtor. but they have a whole nother life going on. They have kids, sports, work, whatever, and it's just not at the top of their priority right now. So keep following up, and as soon as there's something there they like or something they perceive to be of value, then they're going to reach back out.
Yeah.
So continue to follow up all the way until they tell you stop or until you buy something.
Absolutely. Buy or die is what my father-in-law always
That's what I was
says.
about to say. Car business, buy or die.
Car business. You pester them until they buy or die. And he says that all the time. And I got that in my head from the beginning. And I actually went and listened to a speaker about a year ago. And he started giving some statistics about people that pick up their clients. And the first time, like if you reach out to them the first time, you're only like 17% likely to retain them as a client. The second time it jumps up from like 17 to I think 76%. So that second time you increase your results substantially of retaining them as a client, 76%. And then third contact, maybe it's like, the third or fourth contact, it jumps up to like 97. So, I mean, your rate increase of the more times you contact them substantially, like, raises over that period of time. Because, we've all had people contact us one or two times. Like somebody says, hey, I'm interested in blah, blah, blah. Like the kids that come to my door, and I'm like, hey, I don't have cash today, thanks. They're selling candy or something. But I had this little boy, he stopped by my house like 4 different times trying to sell me popcorn. And finally opened the door and I was like, I've got a $20 bill in my purse. I don't know what you could do for this. But he was like, ma'am, I just knew that you were ready to buy some popcorn at some point in time. And you just told me that you would take care of it. And I was like, whenever you turn 18, come see me. Because I've got a job in real estate for you, son. And I love that kid. He's still in my neighborhood. He waves at me all the time. He's like, hi, realtor lady. Like, hi, buddy. And, I mean, he's just a little Boy Scout. But, I mean, it was just the best thing. I mean, he, like, stayed on me until I actually bought a can of popcorn. Most expensive popcorn I ever bought. I don't even know if it was $20 or not. But he walked off with a $20 bill and I got 1 can of popcorn. So, but, I mean, he was adorable, so it worked. So, what else can I tell you about open houses? Anybody on Facebook got questions about open houses?
Got so many people watching.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, Bill. Oh, never give up. Yes, Bill said that's a good point. Never give up. So, yes, please don't ever give up on your follow-ups. We're live, Curtis. We're live on Facebook.
There you go.
So,
It's important too, just when you're in the open house and you're interacting with the client, that you try to make it as much of a conversation as possible. You don't want it to be like an interview or interrogation. Like, how much can you spend? How big do you want? How many beds? You don't want it to be like that. So the more you can engage them and have a conversation, the more likely you're gonna break past their wall and find out exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah. That is one thing I feel like I actually can do really well is that I can engage them as an individual family, as an individual. I have that opportunity to really draw them in. I'll talk to their kids. I'll talk to the wife. I'll talk to the husband. I start asking about, if the kids play sports. I find out what their life is about because the more I know about them, the better off I am on, now I know all their dirty secrets of life, and so now they can't help but buy a house from me because I know so much about them.
They'll ask a good question. What do you do when 10 people walk in at the same time?
Whenever 10 people walk in at the same time, that is a really good question because that, throws me to the floor just about every single time. I'm, so frazzled. But I stand at the door, basically, and I just start talking to people. I introduce myself as they walk in and tell them, kind of do the 3-touch method, and I try to stay in a centralized location as much as possible. I'll introduce myself, I'll give them an info sheet, and I give them the job of something to look at, and I don't always give the same job to every single person. I'll tell one person to go look at the master bathroom. Hey, you've got to check out that tub. Oh my God, go look at the kids' bathroom, or there's something special in the kitchen that I want you to see. And I always give them a job. But if I feel like I had a really good connection with one of them and I got tied up talking to somebody else, I'll say, hey, hang on just a second before you head out. And I'll finish up a little bit of conversation. People usually won't walk out on you if they think that you're really interested in saying something to them. And I will, as soon as I finish up with this conversation, I'll go and talk to them. And I'll tell 5 people, hey, wait up just a second. I want to talk to you real quick before you walk out that door. And I'll tell them to hold up, and it works about 7 out of 10 times.
You ever try to corral them and talk to them in a group?
If I can catch them all in like one bedroom or something, yeah,
In the kitchen or something.
yeah, like I'll corral, a lot of them, because a lot of people will kind of stand back and look and wait to hear what you're having to say. But if you start talking about the neighborhood and the schools and all of the wonderful things about the area, then they're usually pretty interested. And I will openly say, hey, don't forget to sign in before you head out. Love to send you some information about the house. Also, during that time of if I get multiple people there, I may hide some of my flyers so that I don't have all of them out and about, but I'll leave my business cards. And I'll say, hey, if you want me to go ahead and send you one of those flyers, put your name down there. And that way I can email you a flyer. That way I get their information, they get the information about the house, and, it works. Because they won't always give you your information, but they want information about that house. So.
Kristen asks, what's the most important thing to get across during an open house that's very busy? What's the one thing you make sure you say to them when they come in? Get their name?
Get their
Write it
name.
down?
Name and write it down in their information. On my sign-in sheet that I use, not everybody's a huge fan of sign-in sheets, but I really like them. It's a sign-in sheet right here, and I'll pass one out to all you guys that are here. But it has their name, their information, and kind of what they're looking for. A busy open house, a super, super busy open house. I think best thing that I can get to them is that, hey, I've got a lot of stuff in this area that I can show you if you'll just give me the time. I think for me, super busy open houses are much harder to manage and retain clientele than slower ones. I'd rather have an open house where I only have 5 people come through than I have 30.
5 good,
Yeah.
interested people.
Yeah, I mean 5 to, I mean, if I can get 2 to 3 families in all day or at a time all throughout the whole period that I'm there, then I feel a lot better about it than I do having 30 rush through my house.
Emily asked a good question. What's the best way to get a phone number or find out if they're working with a realtor without flat out asking them? Let me repeat it in case they can't hear me.
What's the best way to get a phone number or find out if they have a realtor without flat out asking? Then Bill, you're slamming me with questions. Bill is on top of the questions.
Yeah.
Emily, so I usually just flat out ask, honestly.
I would never advise to ask if they're working with a realtor unless you first established some sort of provided some sort of value. The key is to provide value to them.
Sure.
Make them perceive that you are the go-to realtor at that point.
Yeah, unless they've signed a contract with somebody, even if they tell me that they're working with a realtor, sometimes they'll say that they're working with a realtor, but they really aren't. So, yes, that's true. I will just assume the position of their realtor for the time being until they tell me that they're blatantly working with somebody else.
Yeah. Because people are going to give you their info unless they feel like you can do a good job for them.
Right. I had a couple a while back that there was 2 open houses, one right across the street from each other, and she told the realtor across the street that I was her agent, and she told me that the girl across the street was her agent, just because she didn't have any other names at that time, and I was like, so but I actually won that battle. And she was like, I do that all the time.
No.
And I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. So what do you say to get them to want to use you to sell their house? As I'm talking to them, I don't use any amount of force trying to discuss things with them. I do my best to say, okay, blah, 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 and I start talking to them about the other houses. I talk to them about, the area, and then usually during that conversation, they say something to the effect of, well, we've got to sell our house first. Well, that's fine. I can help you out with that as well if you'll allow me. And usually they want to know a little bit more about that. And so I'll discuss, sometimes a lower commission rate. Well, I do open houses. Obviously, I'm really good at them. And usually saying something to that regard to get a laugh out of somebody is usually, beneficial in gaining that trust and friendship. But sometimes selling that 4.5% listing agreement really helps, especially whenever you're first starting out. I use that like wildfire. I know, Curtis, you still use that, right? And I still do too. So I'm like, hey, I can sell your house for way cheaper than anybody else can in town, unless they're another Kevo agent. I actually had somebody not too long ago tell me that I said, I can list your house for 4.5%, or I guarantee, I bet you money I can sell your house cheaper than almost anybody else can. And they're like, well, what's your commission rate? I was like, 4.5%. And they're like, huh. I had somebody else tell me that too. I was like, oh, really? They're like, oh, wait, they have your business card too. I'm like, of course they do. So, that's not a bad problem to have. So, yes, Charlie.
Emily asked in that thread of questions about listing agreements, if you use them.
Buyer agreements.
Or
buyer brokerage agreements?
Yeah.
I don't force anybody to work with me that doesn't want to. Honestly, I mean, do you?
No, some people work with multiple realtors.
Mm-hmm.
A buyer goes to several different open houses and has 4 different realtors sending him stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever sends it to them, they might go out and look at them with that person. But if you're the one who is most knowledgeable, who is most helpful, who sends them things the quickest, then you don't need a buyer. Because really, the only way you can enforce that is by making your buyer give you money, and they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So it's really a pointless piece of paper.
Yeah.
It makes people think they have
and
to.
it makes them feel uncomfortable a lot of it. Huh?
That piece of paper holds up if you got
Oh, if they buy it through another
agent.
I thought it was just between you and the buyer, so the buyer has to come out of pocket.
No,
Because this listing agreement doesn't. Oh, they replace them on the.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's right. You got kicked out of that one, didn't you?
So it'll hold up. So I don't use them. I only use it when I find out that they're using other realtors too. If I know that other realtors showing them and they're gonna oh, I'm gonna just pick the realtor who finds me the house. Well, then you're signing the buyer broker agreement with me, or I'm not showing you more houses.
Yeah.
Why would I want to spend hours working with them and then they choose another realtor?
I used my first 5
Because
or
I
6.
consume their time more than any other realtor will.
My first 5 or 6 contracts, I made them sign it when we were signing the offer.
Yeah.
As part of the offer paperwork.
But
even I don't do that anymore.
Mm-mm.
And it's probably gonna burn me one day.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of one of those things. If you, like Sherry said, assume the role of the realtor for 99.9% of the time, you're not gonna have any issue if you're doing a good job.
Great.
Hasn't been a problem yet, but
Charlie, got any more fantastic questions?
not at this time.
Bill, Emily,
Good questions.
good questions. I love it. You guys are awesome. I like this Facebook Live thing, and I like
This is
Charlie's-
10 times better than what we've been doing.
Charlie's gonna follow me everywhere I go now and be my moderator. Help me. So, all right, is that it? What time we got here?
Talk for 5 minutes.
Where did our
It's
Clocks
in there. They took it for the.
and my watch is wrong.
Yeah,
It's fine still.
Okay. Well, anybody else got questions?
Do you system your houses?
Wait a minute.
Do you system your houses?
What does that mean, Bill? Stage. Dang autocorrect. No, I don't usually stage new construction houses. No, I don't usually stage unless the builder is doing that already. My listings, I usually, if they have furniture that are kind of out of the place or things that don't need to be out in the open, I always tell my sellers, listen, if something needs to be out of the way for an open house, check your garage whenever you get home if I didn't put it back where it's supposed to go, because I'll usually stick it in a closet or in the garage. I'll stage the items that they have, but I don't purchase any staging items usually.
If the house isn't selling, it's usually not because of the furniture. It's because you're
Yes.
overpriced.
Exactly. All right.
As we found.
Anybody else? Anybody?
It's like a 5-second delay, so you have to wait.
Like there's gonna be something else.
Older empty house. Oh, an older empty house? Probably not. Like Brett said, that if it's if it's not selling, it's not going to sell. Not just because it doesn't have furniture. It's not going to sell because it's overpriced or because there's work that needs to be done.
An empty house is easier to sell than a house with furniture. I mean,
Unless it's like really, really cool
Curtis just
stuff.
said an empty house is easier to sell than a house that has furniture in it.
unless you have a really good interior designer, because
Yeah.
because furniture and decorations and things prevent people from buying houses. They walk in, I don't like it.
Yeah.
They won't even look at the rest of the house.
They hate the yellow curtains, or they hate the turquoise sofa, or something to that effect.
Is personal items on the wall, like family pictures, things like that, is that something they recommend taking down as
Yes. Try to depersonalize the house as much as possible. Like whenever people have to live in their house during the time in which they are listing it, I always tell them to depersonalize it as much as possible. They're like, well, if I take down this big, massive picture of me in a bearskin rug, then there's going to be a blank space on the wall. You laugh, but
well?
or a hole. And I'm like, well, you don't want your picture to resonate in somebody's mind and then to remember your decorations or your family photos more than they remember your house.
You want them to come in, when they walk into a house, you want them to feel like it's their house already, not somebody else's. And then also I tell sellers if they hesitate to take personal stuff, then I say, look, we're taking photographs and they're going online everywhere.
Yeah.
So you don't want your family pictures online for everyone to see.
Yeah.
And plus, when I walk through a house with tons of photos, I spend more time looking at the freaking photos
Yeah.
to see if I know anyone. Like, I know any people, and I don't pay attention to the.
Well, I had a buyer one time. We were looking at pictures in a house, and they saw a photo of somebody that they went to church with, or somebody that they did, I think it was study group or Bible study or something like that with. And they saw a family photo on the wall, and I see them over there. Next thing I know, and they're taking a selfie with the picture, and they're texting it to their friend, like, I'm in your house. And I'm like, that's creepy. Don't do that. So if you're not good enough friends to know where your friends already live, then maybe, so it's just, I thought that was kind of funny, but weird and creepy all at the same time. So, all right. Anybody else? Brett said we're wrapping up. All right. I think this is a good format to do Kevo University on, right?
Oh, I would say one other thing that I've noticed lately is I think a lot of, and maybe this is a newer thing, but I think a lot of people that like these serial open house people somehow think they're gaming the system by not working with a realtor. So sometimes it can benefit you to explain to them in that setting that, it doesn't cost you anything on the buying side to work with a realtor.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes people are real slithery in that process because they think that they're somehow gaming the system by doing it all themselves.
Right. Serial open housers.
Yeah.
I like it, Charlie.
And they're just like for sale by owners. They don't think realtors provide value.
Right.
And so if you can do that, then they'll stop immediately. Because
I think they're going to save money or the house.
or they think they can find the listing
Yeah.
agent and save 3% on the house, which is not how it works.
Quickly explain to them all the money comes out of the other side, and then that changes the story, hopefully.